The limits to which a man will go to achieve his revenge are proportional to the offense that has been committed against him. The greater the wound, the further he will be willing to go to gain his vengeance. So far, I had killed my way through upwards of 10 men, lives snuffed out at the barrel's end of my revolver. That's when I realized I hadn't even scratched the surface of my limits. I was going to find this man, and I was going to repay him. There are laws in the Wastes, one of which is biblical: an eye for an eye, and a tooth for a tooth, blood for blood, and I aimed to pay my debt. That would have to wait though, as now was the time for answers. I entered the Vicky and Vance casino and made my way over to the deputy.
Well, that was quite an adventure. We taught those convicts a thing or two, didn't we? Breaking myself out of a hostage situation, not to diminish your role in it, of course, but it was quite thrilling. Problem is, there's still no law in Prim. What are we to do the next time ruffians menace us and hold us hostage?
No law in Prim? What about you? Aren't you sheriff now? Not that he would do much, I thought to myself.
Oh no, I'm just a deputy, and I can't be a deputy without a sheriff. It's called chain of command.
That depends on who you're looking for.
It should be someone brave like you, but more of a homebody. Someone who'll settle down and watch over us. I heard the powder gangers talking about someone in the prison named Myers who has some experience as a sheriff. He may be a good choice. Also, with the NCR so close by, you may be able to get them to take over the town. Not sure why they haven't helped out already.
I suppose I can help if anything crosses my path.
You will? That's just marvelous. I'll start thinking up questions for the interview. The sheriff that was incarcerated up at NCRCF may be a good choice. You also may be able to convince that NCR guy across the road to take the town under his wing, although martial law doesn't sound so fun. Any luck finding a suitable candidate for our next sheriff?
I think it's about time you answered some questions for me. Tell me about the man in the suit who passed through here.
Ah, yes. My memory is much clearer now that I'm free from my bondage. I was performing recon, gathering information on some of the powder gangers, when some great cons arrived with your friend in the suit. They were talking about some delivery they took from a courier. I assume that was you? They said they'd be heading through Nipton to Novak to meet a contact there.
So, Novak was my next stop. Looks like Trudy was right, and they were taking the long way around to get to New Vegas. That may give me a chance to catch up, but knowing the Wastes, it wouldn't be that simple.
Please.
Before leaving, I headed over to Martin Nash to sell some of the things that had been loading me down. Now that he had access to his shop, we were able to trade freely.
Hey, youngster. Still hanging about Prim, huh? Sure. Another satisfied customer. Bye.
Once we were finished, I made my way back outside, as I had one last piece of business to attend to before continuing my hunt. I saw the body of Daniel Wyand and took one last look at the poor kid before making my way round to the back of the Courier office. He had told us that was where he had kept his own personal stash, and sure, I found the entrance to an old bunker. Once inside, I found something far different than what I was expecting. Two men lay dead along either side of the room, and there were signs of a shootout with bullet holes in the walls and shell casings strewn about the floor. I searched one of the men nearby and found a note on his body. Looks like a group of raiders got here first and turned on each other over the loot. Another stroke of bad luck. I finished searching the place and left empty-handed, and I realized it was already late in the day. Instead of heading out now, I decided to stay the night at the NCR camp once again and get an early start the next morning. As I lay there on that mattress, I looked over the courier order I had taken off of Daniel's body, as well as the notes I had found on the raiders in the bunker. More questions, and still no answers. What was so special about that chip? What was with these special orders that were all headed for New Vegas? I fell asleep trying to find some way that all this connected to me and the man in the suit, but nothing came. The following morning came quickly, and I woke up with a sore back and neck. Before starting off, I checked in with the lieutenant about the situation in Prim, hoping for some sort of a reward.
Hello? Yeah?
Prim could really use your help, Lieutenant.
We know Prim is a great strategic point, and we aren't blind to the needs of the town, but we're barely holding our own against the powder gangers. We don't have the guns or the personnel needed to carry out our mission, much less take on defending this town as well.
Guess I'll look for another solution.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Once again, with the chance to help out, the NCR drops the ball. Typical for a bloated bureaucracy where the right hand has to appeal to the left foot and the stomach before doing anything.
Hey.
I figured it was a long shot, but it was still a pathetic answer. With that finished, I started off heading south. As I made my way out of camp, I took out my binoculars and had a look around. The first thing I saw was the Mojave outpost, another NCR camp that stood high up along the hillside. That would have to be my next destination before heading on to Nipton and then Novak. That was when I remembered the flyer I had found back in Good Springs. There was a small outfit out here near Prim looking to hire bounty hunters. Could be worth looking into, and so, since I was already nearby, I decided to go see what they had to offer. I found a little shack marked with a sign that said Randall and Associates just up the hill, and I entered. Inside, I saw a man in an old leather duster sitting behind a typewriter. He greeted me as I approached.
Hey, hello, welcome to Randall and Associates. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Stephen Randall, owner and operator. I assume you're here for the position, correct?
I suppose so, if it's still open.
Hell yes, it's open. I can begin the interview if you're ready. I only have one question. Are you willing to kill people for money? Yes or no?
I'm already killing bandits. Might as well get paid for it.
That's good, but I need to be upfront with you. You'll be pursuing high-risk bounties. Many of the targets are extremely dangerous. But with the high stakes comes increased rewards. There's cash for every bounty, and increased payment as you complete more contracts. There's quick money in bounties, but you can rapidly make a name for yourself, and a lot of people will be looking for payback. So, what's your decision? Are you still ready to pursue the bounties?
As of now, I'm up for anything that will pay a decent wage.
Your first target is Tom Quigley, a former NCR Ranger who's rumored to be the best marksman in the Mojave. Apparently he contracted syphilis and steadily lost his fucking mind. Despite his abilities with a rifle, he was drummed out of the Rangers. He eventually turned to banditry and murder, taking great pleasure in sniping Brahmin caravans from afar. Quigley's crazy, but he's still damn lethal. He's usually camped out in the hills west of the old Poseidon gas station. Any questions?
Do we work for anyone else besides your little company here?
That's for me to know and you to find out. Any other questions?
Nope, I'm ready.
Good. Bring back Quigley's trigger finger as proof and you'll get the bounty. Just don't get killed out there.
The conversation was short and to the point. I wasn't exactly sure how I felt about it, but I was still desperate for caps and the bounty was on the way to New Vegas anyway. I stepped back out into the New Vegas sun and continued on my way up towards the Mojave outpost. Along the way, I ran into a small pack of feral ghouls, folk whose minds and bodies had been destroyed by radiation. Now they were nothing more than mindless zombies with no ability to reason beyond violence. I took them down with my shotgun. Soon after, I came across an old highway patrol building and noticed a silhouette of someone patrolling the roof. I wasn't sure if it was more ghouls or something else, so I moved in for a closer look. Raiders by the look of it. I moved in close and readied my pistol before springing my ambush. I killed the first two without trouble, and then got the drop on the third from above. I knew there'd be more inside, so I loaded my pistol and stepped through the door. They hadn't expected that, and as I burst through, I surprised 3 more raiders who desperately tried to draw their weapons. They were too slow. Another burst through the door but fumbled as he saw the bullet-ridden bodies of his comrades. 3 bullets later, and he was dead as well. My ears were still ringing as I went about looting the place. Once again, getting the jump on a group of enemies proved vital to my victory. There was a quote they had told us when I was training to be a scout from a book called The Art of War. Let your plans be dark and impenetrable as night, and when you move, fall like a thunderbolt. Once I finished my scavenging, I took a look at a shotgun I had found. An old Ithaca 37. It was a pump-action 12-gauge with enough power to put a rad scorpion down. Maybe one as big as Bertha, but that test would have to wait. I made my way back outside and started up again towards the Mojave outpost. Most of the walk was quiet, at least until I reached an old Poseidon gas station, where I was welcomed by a rather angry rad scorpion. I took the chance to try out my new shotgun and got a second test when another scorpion skittered forward. Not bad for an old pump action. As I made my way to the bottom of the road leading up to the outpost, I ran into a traveling merchant.
Hey there.
I sold him some of the loot I had picked up at the old patrol station and then moved on.
Stay safe.
I continued up the old highway and passed by hundreds of old wrecks and rusty cars. So many vehicles. Most likely those of the people trying to escape that Armageddon of fire and radiation all those years ago. Now, they were nothing but memories of a forgotten era. History that had been devoured by the wastes with only the bones poking out, like a long decayed carcass. Finally, I reached the top of the hill and stood beneath a large statue depicting the unification of the NCR Rangers and the Desert Rangers of the Mojave. That unification was the beginning of all sorts of trouble for the NCR. Sure, there were some positives that came with it, but little did they know it would lead them into a war that would last years and cost many lives. The statue was quite the sight, and after taking it in for a moment, I continued on into the outpost. I ran into a sergeant who greeted me, and we struck up a conversation.
Coming from the north? Must be crazy to brave those roads.
I just came up from Prim. Mind telling me a little about this place?
Outpost. Mojave Outpost. Watching a lot of nothing feels like a big Brahmin pen for caravans. They've been stopped for a while, waiting for the roads north to clear, or their clearance papers to go through. Looks like you've walked away, so if you need to shake the dust off, head to the barracks at the bars there. Not much, but better than nothing.
What about those 2 statues? I read the plaque, but maybe you know a bit more.
Those 2? Represents unification. Mostly good for shade. Won't do much else when the Legion reaches us.
Yeah, I imagine they won't. Say, you know of any work around here?
Nothing I know of. But if you've come from the north, means you can travel freer than most around here. Might check the barracks, someone might need you to hoof it somewhere. Just be careful you go up on the roof. Got a sniper watching the road. If your gear's in need of repair, HQ's also worth checking out. Talk to Major Knight, he can help. Provided you got a pen and plenty of ink.
Thanks. Guess I'll be going now.
Watch yourself.
As I made my way into the outpost, I looked around and got a feel for the place. There were at least 5 caravans waiting to depart, and most appeared to have been there for some time. The atmosphere was negative, and that was being kind. The soldiers looked tired, and the travelers looked frustrated. I decided to head for the administration building the sergeant had mentioned. If there was any work to be done, I'd find it there. I entered the dusty, run-down building and was met by an officer, a major by the looks of things.
Caravan, citizen, pilgrim, or...
Just a courier, if you really need to know.
Just need something for the logbook, keeping tabs on traffic throughout the outpost. Although mostly just in, not out these days. If you're looking for the commanding officer, he's in the back. Although, he's got a lot on his plate, so if you speak with him, keep it short. Also, if you need any gear checked, we can get you up and running again. Once you fill out the work orders and sign for the parts, of course.
I wasn't in need of any repairs, and I decided to ask about Prim first before seeing if there were any jobs available.
Prim? Hayes units is stationed up there. We're having problems with some of the NCRCF convicts. What can I help you with?
Did you hear about all the trouble they've been having? Seems like the town has seen better days.
It has. It was a promising trade town before the escape at the correctional facility. Lost a good bit of money at the Vicky and Vance.
Mind telling me a little about yourself, Major?
Me? I'm Knight. Major Knight. I've been stuck here dealing with these caravans for ages now, but somebody's got to do it.
I take it things aren't exciting enough for you here?
It ain't so bad. If Caesar's Legion decides to push west through Nipton, old Mojave Outpost here will be the front line.
Yeah, things can change pretty quick in war. What can you tell me about this outpost?
NCR border guard duty mostly. It's our job to make sure the caravans can move safely along I-15 and Highway 95. Not the best posting or assignment, but it beats being sent east or patrolling the Colorado. Legion's pretty thick there.
Anything you all need help with around here? I'd be willing to do some work if you're paying, that is.
Help? Oh, well, you could speak to Ranger Jackson. He might have something for you. He sort of runs things around here. Mostly ends up sending reports back west that aren't filled with the best news.
That was good to hear. I decided to leave the topic of Prim alone for the time being and bid the Major a good day.
Dismissed.
I started down the hall and towards the offices in the back of the building to find the ranking officer. I had been in buildings like this before, though as a scout I was on the move most of the time. We'd come to an NCR outpost, check in and provide any intel we had gathered, and then head back out into the wastes. Sometimes we were lucky enough to sleep indoors for a night, but it wasn't common. Finally, I found the commanding officer, a ranger, and introduced myself.
Looks like we got a new visitor in the old Brahmin pen. Not many people coming here in a hurry, only passing through. And if you're passing through, you picked a bad time. Road north has gone to hell, and if I let a caravan through, they won't make it.
How come you can't clear the roads? Sure seems like you have enough soldiers here.
Soldiers, no. Recruits, yes. And the Mojave Outpost has been ordered to have a standing force at the NCR perimeter at all times. So sending anyone out reduces the outpost's numbers, and would be in direct violation of my orders from back west.
Will the NCR send more troops? Or do they even have any more to send?
Sending more troops, yes. To reinforce the outpost, no. Troops head through here on their way to McCarran, or to the front lines at Forlorn Hope. Or they're on leave, on their way to New Vegas to piss away their pay. All of them passing through.
Sounds like you're a little frustrated with the situation.
Frustrated? No, I have my orders. Signed and approved all the way up the chain from Kimball. And I understand the reasons. The outpost isn't a Legion target, yet. Not like Vegas or the Dam. But if the caravans get choked here, that's gonna bite NCR hard. Anyway, didn't mean to talk your ear off. Some days, just feel like more requisition forms and daily reports come across my desk than results.
Well, I'm just passing through, so is there anything you need help with? Providing you'll provide compensation.
Help? Now look, I appreciate... you know what? Yes, I could use the help. And you look like you can handle yourself. I need to get the caravans moving again. That means clearing a path north. There's too much crawling the asphalt up the road to allow it.
Sounds like a deal.
Thanks, I appreciate it. Come back here when you're done. I might accidentally lose some supplies to pay you with.
Officers like Ranger Jackson were rare, but welcome. I felt a bit of sympathy for the man being holed up here trying to do his job, only for the nonsense of the chain of command to get in the way. The NCR was stretched thin, that was obvious, but the toll it was taking on the men and women of the army was even more so. I made my way back outside and decided to drop by the barracks before solving the problem of the blot caravans. The barracks were as dingy as ever, and a musty smell hung about the place mixed with the smell of cooked food. I made my way over to the bartender.
New face in the outpost. Must have come from the north. So, what do you have?
I skipped the pleasantries and went straight to trading, still eager to offload some more of the gear I had scrounged up during my recent adventures.
Take a look.
Once our business was concluded, I asked her a few questions about the outpost to see if there was anything she was willing to tell me that the officers weren't.
Not too much. A lot of caravans going nowhere. A lot of troopers going nowhere, too. Few prospectors here and there, but they don't do more than stink up the place. Everybody's backed up here. You'd think it'd be good for business, but most of the traders are tight with the caps, even the larger caravan outfits.
Know of any work someone like me might be interested in?
Work around here? Might check with Jackson in the main building, or Ghost up on the roof above, but watch out. She's kind of a bitch. Don't tell her I said that, though. Might take a bullet some night when I'm going to the latrine.
Well, thanks for the tip. I'll see you around.
Fine, then.
I took a seat at the bar looking to get a bite to eat before dealing with the problem Ranger Jackson had mentioned, when a young woman next to me spoke up.
Looking for trouble?
She had an ornery look about her, but I decided to ask her a few questions anyways.
Got no time or answers for you. Ask a drifter in need of a few caps. They'll give you all the answers you need.
I'm surprised you can even see straight, I said, and nodded to the nearly empty bottle of whiskey in front of her.
Deep. Ain't deep by half. Closed down the bar yesterday, gonna close it again today. Rinse and repeat. Drinking to forget, and it's only getting me mad instead. Whiskey always gets my temper up, now more than ever. Drinking used to cause all sorts of trouble back west. Before I punched enough people, that is. And they learned to lay low when the whiskey hit.
What are you trying to forget?
Lost my caravan heading north. The driver burned to ash. And they didn't even take the cargo, they just burned that too.
Doesn't sound much like raiders. They would have scampered off with the cargo.
My guess is Legion. They're trying to cut NCR's supply line. And the Mojave outpost is proof. Got us locked up tighter than a New Vegas virgin. No caravans in, out, and just try arguing with Jackson about it. Roads aren't safe, he says. No shit, you washed out old fuck-up. I didn't need a Brotherhood scribe to tell me that.
Sounds like a rough spot, but drinking ain't gonna do much for you. What's your plan to figure this all out?
Drink. Got a lot of memories to drown. If I die while doing it, so be it. Got nowhere else to go. Jackson won't let me head north. It's not safe. And even though my caravan's gone, my caravan papers are keeping me here. So if you came here for work, my advice, go find the Crimson Caravan branch south of Vegas. They can help you out.
Well, good luck with the drinking then. Maybe I'll see you around.
You take care now.
I felt for a kid like that, stuck in a rut and unable to go anywhere. I think a lot of folk would be drinking themselves into stupor in that position. Me, I couldn't sit still like that. I needed to work, to be on the move, and I would do anything to make that happen. Now it was time to deal with Ranger Jackson's little problem and help get these caravans moving and get myself some more supplies in the process. Maybe this would even help get Cass moving. Either way, I had work to do, so I pulled up my shotgun and started down the road again.